Tonight, a Larry King exclusive, 10 years in the making. The stars of Harry Potter open up about the very last Potter movie ever.
I kind of wept like a child on that last day.
The most successful film franchise in history.
Little children are sometimes scared of me because they think I can do a spell or that I really am magic in real life.
And it's coming to an end.
I'm really just grateful to be a part of it. I've loved every day of it.
Never seen before footage of the making of Voldemort. Behind-the-scenes secrets finally revealed. And an exclusive clip of the final Harry Potter movie you will not see anywhere else. Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, Helena Bonham Carter, Robbie Coltrane, James and Oliver Phelps, and Tom Felton. They're all here on the Larry King special, Harry Potter, the final chapter.
Cut. Great work, Matt.
I'm coming to you tonight from Harry Potter the Exhibition here in New York City. You might recognize Harry's Gryffindor dorm room. It's right behind me. You know, whether you're a muggle, a half-blood, or a full-blown wizard, it may be hard to believe that one of Hollywood's most successful film franchises ever is about to come to an end. From books to movies to a theme park in Orlando, J.K. Rowling's story about a young wizard and his adventures has become a pop culture phenomenon. The statistics are staggering. Over the past 10 years, the 7 films alone have made some $6 billion. Tonight, you'll hear secrets from the set. You'll see how the wizarding world was brought to the big screen. We'll even show you an exclusive, never-before-seen clip of the final movie just days before it opens. But first, a look back at how it all began.
Be safe. Be strong.
Harry Potter, the boy who lived, faces his biggest challenge yet. A final showdown with the Dark Lord Voldemort. An epic battle, 10 years in the making. The last Harry Potter. How's that feel?
You know, very, very strange considering we've done it for 10 years. But it's also a wonderful feeling of achievement, and particularly, you know, I'm very, very proud of this last film, and it is the best out of all of them, I think. And yeah, I'm very, very excited.
Also excited? Well, the millions of Harry Potter fans around the world who've been waiting years for this finale.
From what I could see just shooting it, I knew it's pretty epic. It's as I think we do it justice. I definitely, yeah.
Now join me and confront your fate.
It's really serious. Voldemort is kind of rising again, and it's really quite disturbing because we're losing characters that we've known since the first book, and yeah, I think it's going to be really shocking just to see the castle just kind of collapse into this kind of burning piles of rubble.
Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started it. Together.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2, is sure to be the biggest movie event of the summer, and will give fans the ending they've been waiting to see since we first met the young wizard in 2001's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It was 10 years ago that for the very first time we were able to see the wizarding world that until then was only imagined in books.
Plenty of courage, I see. Not a bad mind either. There's talent.
Up! Get up!
We laid eyes on Harry Potter, an orphan who was made to live in the cupboard under the stairs by his aunt and uncle.
There's no such thing as magic.
Tormented by his cousin, feeling isolated and alone, who found out he was not only a wizard, but the most famous wizard of all. We were also introduced to his 2 best friends.
Oh, are you doing magic?
The book-smart, know-it-all Hermione Granger, and Harry's sidekick, Ron Weasley.
Stupid fat rat yellow.
The books and the 7 movies so far have made stars out of the 3 then unknown child actors: Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint. They have grown up before our eyes.
It's really strange. That's the only way I can describe it. It's been, I mean, I was so young, it's difficult to remember much of my life before this thing happened to me. So it coming to an end is, you know, it's huge. I was 9 years old. You know, I was still losing teeth, if that puts it in perspective. I was still losing baby teeth.
The first film was an instant hit for Warner Brothers, which, like CNN, is owned by Time Warner. But that wasn't a surprise. By then, Harry was already a household name around the world to the millions of fans of the books. And it was all dreamed up by an unlikely author, J.K. Rowling, who at that time was a single mother on welfare when she came up with an idea about a boy who does not know he's a wizard.
Do you remember how, it's impossible to say how an idea came about. You remember, though, the creation of this concept?
Yeah, it came to me on a train going from Manchester to London in England, and it came very suddenly. What
came?
The idea for this boy who didn't know what he was. And until he was 11, and then he got this invitation to go off to wizard school, and I had this very physical response to the idea. I felt so excited. I just thought it would be such fun to write.
The first book was released in 1997, marketed as a simple children's book by a first-time author. Many people, including Rowling herself, did not have high hopes for it.
In all honesty, I didn't think it would do this well with anyone. I thought I was writing quite an obscure book that, if it ever got published, would maybe have a handful of devoted... Because I thought it is kind of a book for obsessives. I thought, well, maybe a few people will like it a lot. I never expected it to have broad appeal.
Rowling, who was turned down by several publishers after she wrote the first book, has become one of the richest women in the world, so successful she's reportedly surpassed even the Queen in wealth. Rowling's story spawned 7 best-selling novels, which have sold more than 400 million copies. The books are available in 200 countries and have been translated into some 70 languages. Each release of a new novel was a cause for celebration for fans who lined up days in advance to be the first to walk out with the latest story. But in 2007, when Rowling released the final chapter of the series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, we knew it would eventually come to this.
The boy who lived come to die.
Harry and Voldemort's final stand. The last Harry Potter movie ever.
You said this one, the one opening later this week, is the best. Why?
I think it's the most exciting. I think it's the most direct. I think we did so well in Film 7 Part 1 by setting up all the plot that people need to understand this second film, that that we can just dive straight in and give people this. And what's, I think in this film we find the balance best between the emotional side of the films and the action-packed, adventure, exciting side. I mean, I think we've never got the balance so right before.
I would agree. It's a hell of a movie.
It is a hell of a movie.
10 years ago, it was the million-dollar question: who would play Harry Potter? Producers set out to find the perfect boy.
Dan is great. It was a very difficult process. Finding Harry was very hard. It was like trying to find Scarlett O'Hara, this one. I think everyone was getting slightly desperate, and I was walking down the streets of Edinburgh and London and looking at boys who passed me in a very suspicious-looking way. You know, I was thinking, could it be him? And then the producer and the director walked into the theatre one night, and they found Dan. And Dan is an actor. I mean, he's just perfect.
Dan, of course, is Daniel Radcliffe. Up to then, his biggest role was in the BBC miniseries David Copperfield. His parents, both of whom have some connection to the industry, try to keep him from trying out for the Potter movies. Unbeknownst to Radcliffe, producers repeatedly had asked the boy's parents if he could audition. But not wanting the obligation of this role to disrupt his childhood, they declined. Eventually, fate stepped in one night at the theater.
I was sitting in the theatre and minding my own business with my mum and dad, and in front of us was sitting the producer of Harry Potter, David Heyman, and the screenwriter, Steve Clovis. And I was completely unaware of why this man kept turning around and looking at me and sort of staring at me throughout the show, and I just didn't know what to make of it. Then I remember my dad and my mum getting quite flustered, and eventually that was the moment that they said, well, maybe this is just meant to be. Let's let him audition.
How'd they tell you got it?
I was in the bath, and my dad got the phone call downstairs, and he came in and said, "You've got the part." And I was just very, very happy. And
how old were you?
I was 11. I think I just turned 11, and yeah, had no idea what the implications were, but knew that probably meant that I bought myself a half an hour extra before I had to go to bed that night.
The implications were, of course, that Radcliffe's life was about to change forever.
Did you have a normal boyhood?
It's very hard to say. I mean, no, I suppose is the short answer. I certainly didn't have normal teenage years, but equally I don't really know what normal means. I mean, was I happy and healthy and surrounded by fun and love? Yes. And that's kind of really all you need. And I was also surrounded by inspirational, interesting people from a variety of different backgrounds.
So many child stars, for want of a better term, kids who become famous early have major problems.
Yes.
You didn't. Can you explain that? Kids are not supposed to be famous at 11.
No, they're not. I think what I put it down to is the fact that I think it's very different doing it in England than it is doing it in America. I think when you do it over here, you're treated as a star first and a child second. Whereas in England, I think it's the other way around. You're treated as a child first, and then you're also an actor on these films who, but I don't think anyone panders to it as much possibly in England as they do in America. But thankfully, I have not gone massively off the rails.
Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah, immensely, absolutely. I mean, while there have been moments, obviously, I'd be lying if I said that every single day was fantastic, but generally speaking, I just had the best time. I got to work with my best friends every day.
Do you like Harry?
Yes, I do. Very,
Anything
very much.
You don't like about him?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's kind of arrogant and pretty selfish at times. Not so much in the later films, but he's and also I think there's often a little bit of the smell of burning martyr about Harry. He kind of he occasionally, I think, likes the fact that it's all on him. And I mean, I think there's a line Snape says about Harry where he says he seems to relish his fame. And while that's not obviously true, there's a certain part of it. He does have a bit of a hero complex, I think, and I think he thinks he always has to be the hero. Yeah, absolutely. Which I suffer from myself sometimes.
Really?
I think so, yes.
Not wanting to be typecast forever as Harry Potter, Radcliffe began branching out. In 2008, he made his Broadway debut in the controversial show Equus, appearing naked on stage. Today, he stars in the revival of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
It's so not what you would expect from you. Dancing,
No.
singing, jumping.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, anyone who knows me would expect the jumping, but the dancing and singing would yeah. I mean, it's something completely different, and I've got the energy to do it at this age, so I might as well be doing it. I mean, it's also I do think there's as an actor, I don't think you'll ever work that much harder than doing a Broadway show, particularly a musical 8 times a week. And so yeah, I like working hard. That's the other thing that I think Potter has instilled in me is a work ethic that I now, I love to work.
How have you kept a balance through all of this?
I think the most important thing for me to remember is that it doesn't matter who would have got this part, they would be receiving this kind of attention and this, much. When you step out of the car at a premiere and you get hit by that wall of noise and screaming, you have to. It's very important for me to remember that they would be screaming for somebody else had he got the part. It's not about me. It's about the franchise and the character. So that I kind of have to think about a lot to help just keep it in perspective and stop myself getting big-headed.
J.K. Rowling created a unique world within the pages of her Harry Potter books. A world where cars fly, wall portraits talk, books try to eat children, magic spells are cast with the simple wave of a wand.
Fantastic, Ginny!
And where Ralph Fiennes transforms into Voldemort. We'll be showing you more of this exclusive footage in just a moment.
It's a really interesting... there's an awful lot of very complex challenges in the Potter books, and J.K. Rowling's writing is great, and she gives a lot of very good description. But writing something down on the page and then translating that into a moving image is difficult because, you know, everybody has an idea when they read the book of what something might look like.
Tim Burke has been the visual effects supervisor on the Harry Potter films for the past 8 years. His job? Trying to make everything that happens at Hogwarts look real.
I think visual effects in Harry Potter go hand in hand. I mean, you can't make the films without them.
Burke leads a team of hundreds of production wizards who make movie magic on the big screen.
I don't think the audience would realise quite how many effects there are in these films, especially down to the environments. It's quite startling when we show people what was actually shot and there's an actor in front of a green screen, and then what was in the final film, and he's standing in the Scottish Highlands. It often surprises people.
What's that down there?
Thankfully, our 3 hero actors in all the films, you know, have basically learned how to act on terrible sort of green screen stages with nothing else to work off, which is essential for us because, you know, it's only through their performance that you can then really believe that world existed when we've added it later on.
And out of the roughly 200 creatures Burke and his team created for the films, he has his favorites.
Most of them are probably animated characters. When we did the Hippogriff on the 3rd film, that was a very big technical challenge. At the time, maybe it would be easier to do now, but at the time it was certainly a very difficult, complex thing to do. But it was a very big character in the film, and we had to do a lot of complex things involving Harry having to ride and then fly on the back of it. So realising and completing that for the film was quite an achievement. And then more recently, I really thought the work we did with Creature and Dobby in Deathly Hallows Part 1 was really sort of top-notch because you had to empathise with these little CG characters to the point where you really had to feel Harry's emotional distress when Dobby died at the end, and to actually do a CG creature that causes the audience to shed a tear is quite a challenge, but I think we managed to pull that off. So that was quite a difficult thing, but very rewarding as well.
Trolley! But for every rewarding visual challenge, there are some effects that Burke says have fallen flat.
Some things you're pleased with, other things that never quite sort of were as good as you'd hoped. I think for me, if I'm completely honest, it would probably Grawp on the 5th film. Didn't quite hit the mark, unfortunately. We weren't really quite sure how believable he was at the end of the day. So that was very disappointing, to be honest. But, you know, you can't win them all, so...
One of the most important transformations Tim and his team have done, turning Ralph Fiennes into the Dark Lord Voldemort. In this exclusive video, seen for the first time ever publicly, we're able to show you how it was done.
The face is something we've finessed the technique over the years, and basically Ralph Fiennes wears makeup, prosthetic makeup, and then a matrix of dots that cover the area of his face that we have to replace with our digital prosthetic. We film Ralph Fiennes in all of the action sequences and all of the drama set pieces just normally, and then remove his real nose in the computer afterwards and replace it after we've tracked the movement of his head in the computer. We replace it with our CG snake nose, and that actually is animated as well. So there are moments where we flare the nostrils to emphasise a point when he's speaking or talking. So there's animation goes into that as well, but it all has to be relit and textured to look like it was his real skin, and that's done through a lot of sort of reference photos that we take for every set where we film him on, and we use those to help light the skin.
Another one of Burke's favorite effects, the Monster Book of Monsters from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
This is a great sequence where the book actually comes alive and it tries to get Harry when he's at the Licky Cauldron. And this was done with a combination of a practical animatable prop that could actually open its mouth. The idea is it's got these teeth here, and you can actually see it snap and try and get Harry. And there's a great fun scene where he's trying to, well, the book's trying to eat him, and we've got a combination of a CG animated book and a practical book that we used on set, and we animate all of these little tentacles as well. So that was something that we could film practically on the set with Dan and a real animatable book, and then also there are times when we replace the book itself with a CG one.
There have been thousands of computer-generated effects in the 8 Harry Potter movies, but Burke hopes you haven't noticed that.
We often say that if you don't spot the effects, then you've actually done your job well. The real reward is when people don't realise they've been watching an effects film, especially with something like Harry Potter.
Hi there, I'm Tom Felton, and I play Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter films. It's been an incredible 10 years, and I've been very, very lucky to have been at Hogwarts for the last 10 years. So I wanted a chance to say thank you very much, and I really hope you enjoy the last film.
In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, gone is the innocence of childhood. Harry, Hermione, and Ron face real danger, life and death.
A different film, really. It's all kind of quite tense. I think people will be shocked about how brutal I think we see it as.
I mean, the last 2 films were dark for me to play them and to be in that world every day. And we did so many scenes where there was so much adrenaline and fear required. It was really intense, genuinely.
Like millions of other children around the world, both Emma Watson and Rupert Grint were huge fans of Harry Potter.
Whenever I was reading the books, I always felt like a strong connection to Ron. I even entered like a lookalike competition that was in the paper. And yeah, I won the best Ron.
I loved those books. My dad used to read them to my brother and I. I just loved them, and I always loved Hermione.
Watson and Grint have spent almost half of their lives playing Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley. And now, with the release of the final film, they look back to the beginning.
Recently I saw our first audition when I first met Dan and Emma, and yeah, it does seem like such a long time ago.
Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone. The what?
I think we were just kind of reading. It was a scene from the forbidden section of the library, and yeah, I remember seeing my voice. I was like really kind of quite Artful Dodgerish. Like it was a real proper Cockney.
The 3 young stars have gone through so much together, becoming famous the world over at such a young age.
It's been 11 years of quite an intimate process where you're kind of with each other every day, all year, every year. It's quite a unique kind of thing we've kind of shared with each other, I think.
So, what do they really think of each other?
Dan, he's always been quite hyperactive, quite loud. Yeah, he's very funny.
Dan is the most energetic, hard-working, kind person. He works very, very hard. So he's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Emma used to do things all the time. She's great. She's really kind of caring.
He's a real eccentric. He's a genuine eccentric. I've never been to his house, but I would love to go because it just sounds like it's full of the most magical, wonderful and weird things. He has llamas and miniature pigs, and he's bought a hovercraft, and he has a cow on one of his roofs in his house in London, and he bought an ice cream van that genuinely works. And it's funny because he's this very quiet guy, but kind of just loves crazy stuff.
Did you hit it off with Emma and Rupert right away?
Yeah, I think so. I
You
mean, I
grew up
remember.
together, right?
Yeah, we kind of had to, and we did.
You bonded.
Yeah, and I mean, Rupert and I particularly. Emma was always the, you know, kind of when it came to preventing herself from laughing on set, she was the best. Rupert and I are terrible.
During our interview, Rupert had some fun and decided to ask some questions of his own.
Okay, maybe they want to know. On the last day, I brought them both a trumpet. Yeah, they probably know why a trumpet.
Do you know why?
I just because he's mad and he's Rupert, I imagine, but I don't know. No, is that?
It's crazy.
I don't know if there is another reason behind it.
There's no reason for a trumpet.
No.
Okay, so Dan, would you ever consider dyeing your hair ginger?
Yes, but only for him.
A private moment.
At his request, I would do that.
And for Emma?
Emma, who do you like best, me or Dan?
Of course. Neither. I don't think either of them are that great. No, I'm joking. Obviously, I love them both equally, because that's the diplomatic answer. That's the right thing to say.
Like their characters, Emma and Rupert have grown up in front of the world. But unlike Ron and Hermione, they had to deal with the fame of who they are and what they represent to millions of fans.
They give me, like, presents and stuff and just touch me. It's really weird. That kind of side of it is really taking me a while to kind of get used to.
Some little children are sometimes scared of me because they think I can do a spell, or that I really am magic in real life. And I've always found that really funny. And I try and kind of say, I'm not going to do anything to you. It's okay. Sometimes you can't convince them because they believe in it. They really believe in it.
And now that it's over, the world and these actors prepare to say goodbye to Harry, Hermione, and Ron.
It was quite a big kind of shock, really, kind of leaving it behind. I wasn't really prepared for kind of how I'd feel and how much it kind of meant to me.
It's been pretty great to grow up being her, even though I wasn't spending so much time being me. I really do understand and realise that and feel good about it, and yeah, like really lucky, definitely.
I'm standing here in front of Hagrid's hut. Hagrid, the half-giant, of course, was a friend and confidant to Harry and Ron and Hermione during their years at Hogwarts. Robbie Coltrane has played Hagrid since the beginning of the series. He's just one of many acclaimed British actors in this very talented cast, including people like Maggie Smith and Alan Rickman and Helena Bonham Carter. Tonight, Robbie and Helena open up about Harry Potter and why these may have been the roles of a lifetime.
Welcome, Harry, to Diagon Alley.
Rubeus Hagrid, a big man at more than 8 feet tall with a personality to match. How big an outfit is it to get into?
It weighs about 110 pounds, I guess. There was no way around that because it just had to look absolutely right.
Do you like Hagrid?
I do like Hagrid, yes. I mean, he's the sort of... that's a very good question, actually. No one's asked me that before. Do I like... Yes, I do like Hagrid. He's a big, decent sort of bloke.
Hagrid.
Oh, hello. Sorry, don't wish to be rude, but I'm in no fit state to entertain today.
We know about the Sorcerer's Stone.
J.K. Rowling had said that Coltrane was her first choice to play the half-giant, that his acting brought a subtlety necessary to the character. With all the fans that these books have and the films, do you feel an enormous responsibility to get Hagrid right?
Yes, I did feel an enormous responsibility to get Hagrid right, but I also think everyone else did, you know, and I'm talking about the Sparks and the woodworkers and the construction people, everybody, because they're all parents too, they'd all read the books to their kids. I think everybody raised their game. And you look at the cast list of all the people we've had over the 10 years, you know, it's just the absolute who's who of British acting. It's been extraordinary. It's been an extraordinary experience for everybody, I think.
One of the later additions to that who's who of British actors, Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix Lestrange.
I mean, she's got serious mental issues. She's a sociopath, basically, or even a psychopath, I don't know. Or she definitely takes pleasure from pain, which makes her, you know, definitely very, very sick.
Pretty.
Bellatrix has been a Potter fan favorite since she was introduced in Order of the Phoenix.
It's great fun to play because I just go to work and, you know, it was amazing to be paid for, you know, over a period of 4 years to go to work, be paid lots of money to wait around and, you know, and play a witch and be really naughty.
In the final film, there's a pivotal scene at the end of the movie. A final fight during the Battle of Hogwarts with Ron Weasley's mom, something Carter says fans will look forward to.
Well, we had a duel, and a wand duel. It's a bit like fencing, but without actually making contact. But it was really hard work, and me and Julie we definitely needed the chiropractor after, because it's very easy to throw your shoulder out.
We won!
Carter's not one to hold back, and when we asked her to tell us a secret from the set, well, she opened the floodgates.
I did a wee-wee, don't tell anyone.
Seems after giving birth to her daughter and returning to work, her bladder wasn't what it used to be.
I'm barely able to stand up, let alone jump around screaming. Bellatrix screams. Now, anybody who's had a baby, you'd know that if you scream you just had a baby, nothing's, you know, everything, you know, it's Niagara. I did 25 takes. But I just thought, you have no idea what's happening down there. Larry, you did ask me.
Carter's played many quirky characters over the years, but said she has an affection for Bellatrix and her time on Harry Potter.
I loved it. I felt it's been a real privilege and an honour to be part of it. And to be part of something that's just so stimulates the sort of mass imagination across the world of children is, you know, and to feature in people's imagination. I always feel that's, and to even, you know, that it's in some way exciting for them.
From the wizarding world on the screen to the wizarding world of Harry Potter at Universal Studios Florida, where in the past year millions of Potter fans have gone to get an up-close look at where Harry and his friends called home.
It's great you can walk around, there's snow on the rooftops, but everyone's in short sleeves. It's brilliant. Just seeing all their faces, they're just in awe of it. I think it just shows to us how much it means to people.
We asked James and Oliver Phelps, better known as Fred and George Weasley, to give us a tour of the park. From Dumbledore's office.
The actual books on here are actually all detailed in about wizarding matters.
To Ollivander's wand shop.
Perhaps this.
Cheers.
To getting a butterbeer. And as you can imagine, the fans took notice.
It's quite funny, like when we're walking around here earlier, like people just coming up to us and talking to us like with Fred and George, which is pretty neat. There was a lot of people taking photos and everything, which is quite surreal, really. It's nice, but it's still surreal.
The Phelps, like the rest of the cast, say they're sad to leave Harry Potter behind.
It was very surreal, I think, on the last day to walk out. We had a great time doing this. The last day of filming was quite emotional for us, but it's kind of bittersweet. Like we're aware that it's coming to the end now, and you know, what better way to go out than on the biggest high it has been.
Our work is done.
10 years in the making. And soon we'll see the last of Harry Potter. And in just moments, we'll show you an exclusive clip of the final movie. From the beginning, this story of a little boy who didn't know he was special has touched millions of people around the world.
Why is it so successful?
I think it's due to a lot of things. We love an underdog. I think the world of J.K. Rowling is so meticulously thought out that people like me, who like to geek out about these things, can get wrapped up in the wizarding lore and the world, and it's so complete. I think we love that. We love magic. We love the idea of that. And it's a testament to just the brilliance of the writing.
What I really loved and what I think that people really love and why the stories are so enduring and why they touch so many people is because the characters are so real and flawed and beautiful and inspiring and lovable, just completely lovable.
As actors, crew members, and fans prepare themselves for the end of Harry Potter, a few statistics. In the past 10 years, Harry's famous lightning bolt scar has been applied to Daniel Radcliffe's forehead an estimated 2,000 times. 588 sets have been created, and Harry has gone through 160 pairs of glasses and some 70 magic wands. But as the final Potter film is about to open, all that is now history.
What was the last day like?
Very, very emotional. I remember I kind of wept like a child on that last day.
It was kind of like the last day of school, and I remember packing up the dressing room. It was very sad. We all cried. It was really, really bizarre.
As the cast moves on from Harry Potter, they share thoughts of their past and of their future.
It's definitely going to kind of be with me for the rest of my life, really. But yeah, I'm really just grateful to be a part of it. I've loved every day of it.
It's bittersweet. You know, it's really exciting to see what comes next. But it's definitely a big chapter closing.
And for Daniel Radcliffe, perhaps a chance for him to share his unusual childhood with his own children.
Do you want family someday?
Oh, God, yes, absolutely. It's very strange, I'm one of the broodiest young men you will ever meet. I think also because I spent so much time around adults and I saw them all have kids.
You want children?
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. And not just now, but I want kids and I want lots.
But you need to meet someone else in order to have...
I need to get someone who's willing first, yeah.
Share a life with you.
I've got a girlfriend at the moment who I am very much in love with, so we'll see where that goes.
As we leave you tonight, here's your first look at a never-seen-before clip of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2.
How did you come by this sword?
It's complicated. Why did Bellatrix Lestrange think it should be in her vault at Gringotts?
It's complicated.
The sword presented itself to us in a moment of need. We didn't steal it.
There is a sword in Madame Lestrange's vault identical to this one, but it is a fake. It was placed there this past summer.
And she never suspected it was a fake?
The replica is very convincing. Only a goblin would recognize that this is the true sword of Gryffindor.
I need to get into Gringotts. Into one of the vaults.
It is impossible.
Alone, yes. But with you, no.
Thanks for joining us for tonight's special. Join us in October for another special that will, well, you will not soon forget. Let's just leave it that way. And we'll leave you this way. Good night.